He always told me, I love you, I'm never gonna hit you, I promised you. He promised me so many times.
And they brought a little boy in that had been sexually abused, and he was a toddler.
He had bruises around his wrists, and he had bruises around his ankles.
I had one staff member changing his diaper, and when she took it off, she could see bruises. I remember her going down on one knee, and I heard this ungodly scream.
I'd call my husband, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this.
Our apartment was raided, and I was taken by CPS.
She had just got there, very sweet little girl. Come to find out she was there because she had an STD.
When you'd go over to the infant house and you just look at him, it broke your heart because you can't imagine what he went through.
Alarmed by what he treated firsthand as a doctor at Maricopa Medical Center, pediatrician Kip Charlton led the charge to break the cycle of child abuse and neglect by forming Crisis Nursery.
We need to make sure that those children are as healthy emotionally and physically as possible. And unfortunately, many children are not in circumstances where that can occur. And this Crisis Nursery operates as a safe haven where children can get that kind of love and care.
Well, in 35 years of caring, we've gone from a small cottage serving 4 or 5 children at a time to serving, at least on a daily basis, close to 400 children.
20,000 children have been served since Crisis Nursery opened their doors in 1977. The dedication of the Crisis Nursery staff is proof that no life is too small to fight for. Darlene, Janice, and Pat together have over 77 years of experience helping children at Crisis Nursery.
I do remember a little girl that was 2 years old, and she was burned from her waist down in hot bath water. And the burns were wrapped, and it was just too difficult for most of the staff. So, I, for whatever reason, was able to do it, but, go cry later, so.
You've got to find some humor, other you're not going to make it through the night. It's just that way. And like I said, I can drive to work and cry all the way. By the time I get here, I wipe my face and go to work.
You see the initial negative, but then you see so much positive after that.
We really see on a daily basis how the kids' lives change.
The Valley's longest-serving children's shelter has provided a safe haven for 482 children just this year alone.
I was taken to the Crisis Nursery that night.
Isaac came to us about 7 or 8 years old. Both parents had been incarcerated on drug offenses, and he was brought in the door by Child Protective Services in the middle of the night. He'd seen both of his parents arrested and was obviously traumatized and anxious.
The 3 or 4 months I spent at the Crisis Nursery, I couldn't have asked for better care. They provided me with everything I needed.
Providing 24/7 loving care, 3 square meals a day, a nice place to sleep, and a nice place to play. We built in an educational component, and we also added a more comprehensive medical component. A young man, about 19 years old, came to the shelter at Christmas time and basically said, we'd really like to give back. And it turned out this was Isaac. After that visit to the shelter, began volunteering with our kids.
When I go to the Crisis Nursery and I help out those kids, I see a little bit of me. I see the kids who are scared, the kids who are angry, and then I see some of the kids who truly are happy there that they have somebody to care for them and provide them with the affection and love that they need.
Isaac is now a college student. He is hoping to become a pediatrician.
If it wasn't for the Crisis Nursery, I most likely wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Volunteers like Isaac are living proof that Crisis Nursery's child-centered and family-focused programs, such as the Children's Shelter and FACES, changes lives.
He would hit me in the face. He never had a reason to hit me. He would just do it because he felt like it. I started screaming and he wouldn't let me go. He pulled me by my hair. He wouldn't let me go.
Elizabeth is like many women where you don't see the wounds, but they're there. She and I went together to the courts and got a restraining order. And I was really proud of her, and she stood up in front of the judge and told her story and said that she didn't ever want to go back to that and she wanted her sons and her to be safe.
She was the only person she was actually there that she could hear me, Joanna, because I couldn't tell my mom, because if I told her, Adrian's dad hit me and did all these kinds of things to me, she would be really upset.
And I have worked with her for over 2 years now. When she started in our program, I was a teacher, and her son Adrian was 1, and he was in my class.
FACES, which stands for Families and Children Experiencing Success, offers full day, full year early childhood education and a really strong family support component for families. We were fortunate enough to be awarded an early Head Start grant about 3 years ago. So currently our target population is pregnant women and families with children under the age of 3 that live in our immediate neighborhoods.
Adrian's in His Start. The one that's in FACES is Jaden. He's doing home base. I just want to be me and my babies. I just want to be together. I want to finish school. I want to, finish a career, get him out of this, give him a home, give him, good life.
FACES currently serves 144 children, like Jaden, with child development services for toddlers and work to promote healthy development by involving their families.
I have some families that go to the center and take their kids to the school, and I have some families that I just go to the home and do home visits and work with them at their house.
We did the interview, and then finally when they said, she's in, I said, thank God.
During a home visit, I would typically bring activities to do with Jasmine based on where she is developmentally, what me and Mom are wanting her to learn.
They teach them to be a little bit more self-sufficient. She serves herself, she picks up after herself. They teach them how to brush their teeth. That's like big, She loves to read. She absolutely loves to read. She's gonna be so ready for kindergarten after this program, and I'm just so thankful.
I met my husband, Darren, at Crisis Nursery in about 2000. I was there for, 10 years. And I said, what do you think about us being foster parents? And Darren was like, oh my God, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Jesse and Darren's love of children was put on the line when they decided to foster not 1, but 3 boys, rather than break up the brothers. But the decision was one that just came naturally for a family with boundless love.
It's not really us helping them, it's more of us helping each other because they feel our hearts and we feel their hearts, so it's a give and take.
You gotta love kids to do this job. You can't just do it if you don't love kids.
Last year, Crisis Nursery's foster care program licensed 28 families who have cared for 126 child victims of abuse and neglect.
We had cared for children in our shelter for 30 years. It seemed like a natural progression to use the skills and the experience that we gathered through that to really convey that to families in the community that wanted and were willing to take in foster children.
Our foster kids are our family.
And while our community's need for the kind of services Crisis Nursery has to offer continues to rise, costs are skyrocketing as well. Whether you donate your time, love, or money, Crisis Nursery needs your help. Please join us in our mission of breaking the cycle of child abuse and neglect.
The job never ends. There will continue to be, in predictable future, children who are mistreated. This is a safe haven for children, and I hope will continue to be for years to come.
More than 40% of our funding comes from private sources, and that's individuals, that's congregations, that's civic groups, that's corporations and foundations. Without that, we could not provide the quality services that we do at Crisis Nursery, and we couldn't offer our services to families in the community that see a need themselves as opposed to having to come through a state system or another referral system.
Thank you for supporting Crisis Nursery, me and my 2 sons, Adrian and Jaden. It's been a big help.
It makes me feel great. That's why I do this. Social work's not always easy. Those are the families that remind me why I do this every day.
All these years later, people are so committed to helping the kids.
I am very thankful, and if it weren't for you that donated to places like this, I wouldn't have been able to make my dreams come true.
We've downsized in the infant house over at the shelter. We've downsized in some of our programs, and it's sad to watch us have to turn away families because of the economy.
If you're kind to people, they will be kind back to you.
I would just like to thank the Crisis Nursery for everything they've done for me.
We can't do this alone. We need your help. Please give generously today.